based on the worldwide best-selling novel.
Millie's gonna be living with us. She's gonna be part of the family.
Can you
I need this job. I can't lose it. I do not want to go back.
keep a secret?
What do you know about this family?
I know you shouldn't be here.
The Housemaid, only in theaters December 19th, rated R.
Meet the computer you can talk to. With Copilot on Windows, working, creating, and collaborating is as easy as talking. Got writer's block? Share your screen with Copilot Vision to help spark inspiration, and use Copilot Voice to have a conversation and brainstorm ideas. Or maybe you need some tech help. With Copilot Vision, Copilot sees what you see. Let Copilot talk you through step-by-step guidance so you can master new apps, games, and skills faster. Try now at windows.com/Copilot.
The only talk show with an introduction that mentions its own introduction. And that's happening right now in this introduction. The Last Show with David Cooper.
Begging for a mention. Yeah, you just want attention.
I want to talk about Sickboy, a podcast where three friends faced pretty grave illness with humor, honesty, curiosity. It's based out of Halifax. Sickboy, the name. I'm joined by Brian Stever, Jeremy Saunders, and Taylor McGillivray. Did I get that all right? That is the great question.
You nailed it.
Nailed it.
David, you absolutely nailed it.
So good.
I would have assumed you were from the East Coast, Frank. You were Scottish roots.
I am not. I am a Jew through and through from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, I believe. I think. Yeah.
23andMe, check it out.
I did. Yeah, that was the least surprising thing ever. It said 100% likely to be lactose intolerant. A glass of milk could have solved that one. Okay, the podcast. Tell me about it. Like, what exactly would I discover or learn or come to hear if I listen to an episode?
Surprisingly, you'd probably find that living with chronic or terminal or mental illness is a lot funnier than you think.
It has to be.
Yeah. I mean, the whole show stems from the fact that I live with cystic fibrosis. We started it about 10 years ago. And the impetus for the show was kind of just surrounds the fact that whenever I would bring up the fact that I live with CF, I would always find people get really awkward. They kind of tighten up. They almost feel there's like this instant empathy, or not empathy, but an instant pity where they, they go, poor you.
Yeah.
And they get really, they just start walking on eggshells. So I always found that just immediately throwing to like self-deprecating humor about the situation immediately disarmed that feeling that has like come up in the room, and then everything was kind of fine and dandy going forward. And so when we sat down to record our first episode, I mean, we never thought anyone would actually listen to the show. We thought our moms might think it's cool.
Which they did.
They did, yeah.
For sure.
Muzzle.
But basically my two best friends who are, the epitome of health, I gave them the opportunity to sit down and ask all the questions that they'd want to ask their sick friend. And that one recording ended up being very funny for the three of us. But also for me, it was really therapeutic.
Yeah.
And for the guys, it was really kind of eye-opening and educational because they learned a whole lot about their best friend that they didn't even know prior to going into that conversation.
I think the big thing that people, so CF is cystic fibrosis. And for most people who know about cystic fibrosis, the thing they probably have heard is that people with cystic fibrosis have a shortened life expectancy. So that was basically the thing that I knew about Jer growing up. And, as we became closer, I didn't really ask him that much about it. So when we had this recording and we actually got to like sit down and have like a full hour-long conversation about the ins and outs of what it was like, growing up, learning about his diagnosis and
why do his fingertips look so weird?
Yeah, I mean, it explained a lot too.
Was there something magical about having the mic on that even though it's this public forum, it allows you to get a little more intimate than you would if you were just privately talking to your buddy?
Yeah, totally. I mean, like, when the show, now it's like if we're doing this, we're doing it to like a stadium full of people technically, but it never feels like that because we're always just in a room talking to either each other or to someone like yourself, like on a screen, right?
Yeah.
So there is this intimate feeling of like getting stuff out, but I guess like in the back of your mind, there's always this knowledge that somebody else out there is going to be listening to it. And
You have that knowledge for your show. Mine, not so lucky.
It was weird for me as a person who wasn't, a trained like speaker or entertainer to like sit down and think about being recorded
Brian's
on
a
the
trained
mic.
real estate agent.
I was at the time when I started. I was taking my real estate license. But the thing I think is that like the microphone almost gave permission to like ask these questions that would have been really weird if we were just sitting in a living room at first.
Or maybe would feel like entirely inappropriate.
Totally. Right. Yeah. I think that's where the weirdness comes from.
You create the space. When you create the space for it, when you say, we're going to do this thing at this time and the conversation is going to be something about this thing, then all of a sudden, all of that stuff becomes like on the table when maybe it hasn't been before. And I think the other thing that I learned and that I started to notice, and probably something that you knew, Jer, your whole life, because you're the one who lived with the chronic disease, is that people who have an illness, especially if it's chronic, but even if it's something that maybe came up later in their life and then they live with it on a day-to-day basis, is that people don't walk around a lot of the time like just feeling like they are their illness. Like they're a person and an illness is like a part of them, but it's not like their entire being. So when you talk to somebody with an illness, you're not talking to an illness, you're talking to a person, and the illness is like a part of them and it doesn't like fully define them. And so that like pity is misplaced.
Interesting. Talk to me about laughing around dark stuff, life and death stuff. Like, for example, a close friend of mine had lymphoma and he was fighting it. And he just beat his first fight with it about a year ago. And I sent him a text saying, your wife almost got lucky. You almost died. And my girlfriend's like, how could you send him that? And then later he said during recovery, laughing at that message was like one of the nice moments for him. I think you can make a joke about anything, no matter how dark, no matter how grim, no matter how life or death. I imagine you guys agree with that position.
Totally. 100%.
Yeah.
I literally had... I think I would never release a group chat to the public, but I read something from a group chat to my wife the other day, and she goes, only you and your friends.
Do you want to just...
and I said, everything can be funny.
Because it's hard for us to really understand what you're talking about, so why don't you pull that message up?
No, I think... no. We'll leave it for after the recording.
I mean, here's the thing about what you just mentioned, David, which I think is like a perfect example. That joke that you sent, right? You know your friend. Yes. You have a sense that he's going to actually find that funny, right? Of course, there's a world or a person or a situation where you send that joke and it's like, didn't read the room.
I wouldn't say it to a stranger in a hospital.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Now, your friend in that moment reads that message, and I can almost guarantee you that out of the 98% of other people that he's been in conversation with, none of them have sent something so
crass,
objectively funny.
Oh, thank you.
Right? And so it's this thing where he goes, finally, Jesus.
Reality.
It's like someone can just treat me normally. Someone doesn't have to like send me a text that's just like this boo-hoo, like
sorry.
It's like the grief that sorry for your loss. Whenever someone close to them dies, all you hear is, I'm so sorry for your loss. You hear it so much, it completely loses all meaning.
Also, it's the person who says it, they're saying it because they feel uncomfortable and they don't know what else to say.
Right.
But also, I mean, there's not a lot of depth in them even saying that. There's a really great moment that happened early on in the podcast where we were talking to a woman who lost her child. They died at, I think they were 3.
Wow.
In her arms.
In the episode, she was explaining this, and Jer said, I can't imagine what that's like. And she was like, no, you can imagine. And he was like, no, I really can't imagine. And she was like, no, you can imagine. And she started to push back. And it became this like really profound moment, definitely for me, where I was thinking like, oh yeah, like when we see people going through these really tough experiences, it's easier for us to not really think about it and just say, oh, I'm sorry you're going through that, and try to like not really put ourselves in their shoes, because frankly, it's hard to do.
Yeah, I can't imagine a cop-out when someone says that.
Totally.
I think so, yeah.
It's not that I can't imagine, it's that I didn't want to.
Totally.
Wow.
I don't want to go there.
I say that a lot. I got to reconsider that one.
And I think it's okay. Like I think I'm not saying that like every single time you need to really go there, but I think that if you have the capacity and you want to be there for someone who's really going through it, like if you really care about this person and you want to show them that you care, saying I can't imagine or saying I'm sorry and not being prepared to go into that grief with them is a bit of a cop out.
The better choice is when they say that, you just let out a huge fart and then go, got it.
Because farts are always funny.
Farts are always funny. I'm here with Brian Stever, Jeremy Saunders, and Taylor McGillivray. I am talking to the host of Sickboy, an amazing podcast you can find wherever podcasts are downloaded.
At Sierra, discover top workout gear at incredible prices, which might lead to another discovery. Your headphones haven't been connected this whole time. Awkward. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
I am here with the hosts of Sickboy, a podcast where three friends face illness. Well, at least one of them does. He has cystic fibrosis, and they talk about it. And things get dark, and things get funny. And we are here with Brian Stever and Jeremy Saunders and Taylor McGillivray to discuss all of this and probably other things. This is a great introduction. I'm a really talented broadcaster. Welcome, guys.
I'm really loving it.
You did nail it, yeah.
It's like, how long can a man talk in circles with saying nothing? 30 seconds is the answer. Welcome, guys.
But it sounds so good.
Thank you. Guys, tell me about some of the people you interview who have chronic illnesses, mental health difficulties, rare diseases. What's a real standout one for you?
Oh my God. So again, we've been doing it for 10 years. We've published over almost 1,000 episodes. There's a wild list. I mean, one that comes to mind right off the top of my head is a guy that we know who he has seminal stones. So when he ejaculates, for people at home listening who don't know what that means.
Content warning for any parents with children or sensitive listeners. We will be discussing some adult themes, including sexy private parts. Boom. Now, for regulatory purposes, you can say whatever you want.
There you go. So earmuffs.
You kept it so clean. Seminal stones.
When he ejaculates, he has kind of like kidney stones, except the semen.
Keep it on the radio.
Or the ejaculate fluid is solid like a rock. It comes out like a kidney stone.
Like a rock.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Bob Seger. He's got Bob Seger stones.
Yeah.
And one of the interesting parts about having seminal stones is that the way to deal with it is to keep the pipes clear.
Oh, wow.
So he has to essentially
release the stones.
Go to work once a day or more to keep the pipes clear, aka a bunch.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I wasn't sure.
No, that's fine. Okay. Our censors will, not important. But I always imagine if you have scurvy and you go to the doctor, you get a prescription pad where it says 1 orange per day. I would love to see the prescription where the doctor writes, you need to do that once or more a day.
Yeah,
that's
totally.
Right. Yeah.
Go home and tug it.
There was actually a really funny moment from that conversation where he had to do a specific exam. What was the type of exam that he had to do? And he had to use the stirrups on the on the table.
He was in a very compromising position.
I'm pretty sure it was like a prostate exam.
You act like you don't know.
And in order to have it, you lay on the table and there's...
Brian gave it. What do you mean you don't know
I think he was hands and knees inclined, butt up.
What do you think he's doing with the big bucks he's making from your show? He's built a replica room in his house of this.
What he was supposed to do was he was supposed to have a prostate exam. He was supposed to use the stirrups on the bed. So he was supposed to lay on his back and put his feet up on the stirrups. He did not know that this was what he was supposed to do. He knew he was supposed to use this bed and these stirrups in some way. And so what he did was he propped himself up on his hands and knees and got his shins into the stirrups. So basically, like I think there's a song out there that says like face down, ass up. He was face down, ass up. And the doctor came in and immediately was like, oh my God, what are you doing?
Yeah, the doctor thought he was about to be the victim of a crime or something.
God bless him. God bless
Please
him.
dismount.
Which is a great example, because in that moment for him, that would have been an incredibly embarrassing experience.
Horrifically embarrassing.
In hindsight, when you tell that story after, it's very objectively funny.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Your podcast's tagline is, it's the only place where terminal diagnosis and dick jokes peacefully coexist. Now, you got to say more about that.
Well, you know what? It's a relatively recent tagline, but it's something that's been true for a decade. And to go along with something that we've been talking about recently is that over the last 10 years, Jeremy's one such guest. Jeremy had phimosis as a young lad.
What is phimosis?
Again, kids at home, earmuffs.
Phimosis is when the frenulum that connects the foreskin to the head of the penis is too tight.
Let me explain this way in a more PG way. When the turtleneck is too tight.
The turtleneck is too tight. The turtleneck cannot descend.
Yes.
Okay? So this is actually
I'm so glad we have a content warning for what we're about to do.
How hilarious, as hilarious as this conversation can be, it's also, like, it really impacts someone's sexual life.
It messed me up. When I was 16, I had to get circumcised.
L'chaim.
So the entire episode, I shared this. Yeah, brother.
He did a bris.
Who was your moil?
It was a home bris, and it went really well.
It's a covenant with God, my friend.
No, I had to get circumcised when I was 16, and I actually set the appointment up without my parents knowing. My mother got a phone call the day before asking if I had a ride set up to get like home. And my mother, she was like, for what? And they were like, for his procedure tomorrow. And she said, what procedure? And they were like, his circumcision. And my mother was like, what the hell is going on? So then of course I had to say, Mom, I got to get I set that up. I can't retract my foreskin. And so my mother actually took me to my circumcision, took me home. My mom's a nurse. She had to put cream on me over the next couple of weeks. I told all my friends at school that I had a severe lung infection and I had to go in to be admitted to the hospital. All of this was because I had phimosis and needed to have a circumcision.
And so we did this episode with Jeremy and another one of our friends who also went through this phimosis in his adulthood.
Similar procedure.
And we aired that episode, and we've had 20 guys reach out to us and say, I listened to that episode. I never had any idea why sex and like masturbation was always just like off the table for me. Like I couldn't do it. I just basically didn't have a sex life because I just thought it was just not for me. And then I got circumcised, and lo and behold, I have a sex life now. That's kind of crazy.
It just turned out that their turtlenecks were too tight. And they just had to take that fabric off and remove it, and everything was good.
We're responsible for a slew of circumcisions across the country.
We call it our cut count. I also I want to state, because I feel like,
for the record,
we really didn't have a lot of time for this interview. And it sounds like, based on everything that I've heard in this interview,
it covered a lot of skin.
If I was at home driving my car listening.
Wow, look at you with your radio broadcasting instincts trying to rein everything in.
It really just sounds like these guys, their podcast is just about penises and but really,
and that framing would be 100% correct.
But we really do. We talk about terminal cancer. We talk
about mental illness.
We talk about mental illness. We talk about illnesses that we've never even heard of before, that are so rare that doctors don't even know much about. We really have heard the entire spectrum of the human experience of what it means to live a life whilst being challenged with illness.
Like when one of our guests grew a penis on his arm and had it transplanted on. That's actually true. That's a true story.
It is actually true.
You guys, you tackle these heavy topics. What you talk about might be triggering for people. I know I'm certainly triggered by how vulgar you guys are. How do you navigate that responsibility? Or do you just get the nasty emails in your inbox and you don't care?
Well, to be honest with you, like we actually don't get that much flack. And I think a big reason for that is because when we have a guest on the show, it really is about them and their experience. And so sometimes we'll get a guest on, like, you know, we'll use the example of the gentleman who had the seminal stones. I mean, that was just a really silly conversation from start to finish. But sometimes we'll have someone on where they're like in the throes of a recent diagnosis, and it's really tough and it's really hard for them. And this really kind of comes back to what we were speaking about before the break, which is that these conversations are conversations that people are dying to have, literally and figuratively. And so if someone shows up and they're in a space where they're really in a place of feeling quite vulnerable, and they are in a place of still like where it feels really fresh and they're scared, well, we show up for them where they are in that moment.
Jeremy.
And every conversation is completely different.
Jeremy,
and the humor in the show is always.
He cut us off, Taylor. We've run out of time. He already cut us off.
We've run out of time, but you guys are great. Check out Sickboy at sickboypodcast.com. Did I get that right?
You did.
Probably. I mean, Google it. I'm sure it'll come up.
Yeah, Sick Boy, whatever. Who cares? I'm here with Brian Stever, Jeremy Saunders, and Taylor McGillivray, who are both coasts, who are coast to coast.
Coast, yeah.
Coast to coast with the most.
With the most. All right. Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate being on the show.
Doug.
Here we have the Limu Emu in its natural habitat, helping people customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Fascinating. It's accompanied by his natural ally, Doug.
Limu, is that guy with the binoculars watching us?
Cut the camera. They see us.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.